For 10 years, she owned exactly one kind of shoe. Not because she wanted to, because it was the only kind that didn't leave her limping by 3 in the afternoon. Her name is Elaine Bouchard. She's 55, a hospital pharmacist in Asheville, North Carolina, on her feet for 12-hour shifts behind a counter, filling prescriptions for a line that never fully stops moving. Wide feet, a high arch, a high instep, the exact combination, she told me, that makes almost every shoe in almost every store an act of quiet self-punishment by hour 6. She gave up on pretty shoes somewhere in her late 30s. Practically won. It always won. What struck me about her message wasn't the complaint. It was the resignation underneath it. The sense that she'd simply decided permanently that comfort and elegance were 2 different countries, and she only had a passport for one of them. She wrote that she'd stopped even looking at shoes she liked, because liking them had stopped being useful information. She found one of our videos during a slow shift, scrolling on a break, and left a comment about her feet almost as an aside, not expecting a response, she said. What she got back from another woman in the comments wasn't sympathy, it was specifics. Which shapes actually accommodate a wide foot and a high arch? Which heel placements protect the joints instead of punishing them? Elaine told me that exchange did something a decade of shoe shopping hadn't. It made her curious again, instead of resigned. She downloaded the Elegant morning routine checklist that same week, and what caught her wasn't a wardrobe tip. It was a single line about intentionality, that an elegant life isn't built from more. It's built from choosing correctly, once, for the body you actually have. She'd been buying orthopedic shoes for a decade without ever once asking what shape her own foot actually needed. She'd just been avoiding pain. She'd never been solving it. She rebuilt her shoe collection from almost nothing. Not 7 pairs at once, but 2, chosen deliberately, matched to her actual arch and width, instead of whatever a display window suggested that season. A podiatrist I consulted for this video put it plainly: most women don't own the wrong shoes. They own the wrong shapes for their specific feet, chosen out of habit instead of measurement. Elaine wears one of those 2 pairs to work most days now. She says her feet stop aching around hour 10 instead of hour 4. And a colleague, she told me, asked where she'd found shoes that looked that put together for a 12-hour shift. A question nobody had asked her in years. That's what I want you to sit with today, because point 2 on this list is the one my comments fight about more than any other. A heel placement detail most women have never once been taught. The difference between a shoe that supports your joints and one that quietly wears them down with every step. Before we get into it, I have something for you. The same document that shifted how Elaine thought about her own feet. It's called the Elegant Morning Routine Checklist. 12 rituals sophisticated women use to protect their presence, their energy, and how they carry themselves daily. Free, no catch, link below this video. My name is 𝐈𝐬𝐼𝐷𝐿. Every week I bring this community the information that nobody else is willing to say plainly. That community is called the Undeniables. If you are new here, subscribe right now. You belong here. And drop the city you are watching from in the comments below. I am always down there reading. I want to know where my fellow undeniables are. Now, let's get into it. 1. The loafer. In a color that isn't afraid of itself. I've watched women dismiss the loafer as unglamorous, safe, almost apologetic. A shoe you settle for rather than choose. Worn correctly in a rich cognac or tobacco leather, it's the opposite. It reads as inherited taste rather than trend chasing. The kind of piece French women have carried for generations without ever once questioning whether it counted as elegant enough for the occasion. A footwear historian I know in Paris told me the Cognac loafer specifically echoes the color of the region's namesake spirit, a detail generations of well-dressed French women understood instinctively long before it ever became a talking point online. The shade wasn't chosen randomly. It was chosen because it ages beautifully, the way good leather always does, deepening rather than dulling with wear. Elaine found a wide-width version in exactly that shade, something she'd assumed didn't exist for a foot like hers. She says it's the first loafer she's owned that didn't feel like a compromise between comfort and how she wanted to be seen. The first time both requirements were simply met at once, without her having to choose. This is one of 30 days inside the Undeniables complete system, the guide Elaine went on to work through once the checklist proved there was real substance behind it. And if you're planning to stay through this video, subscribe now, because next week I'm covering the exact fitting mistakes that quietly wreck a shoe collection before it's even finished being built. 2. The pump, with the heel centered under the arch, not pushed back. Here's the correction I promised you. Most black pumps place the heel too far back on the shoe, throwing weight forward onto the ball of the foot with every single step throughout the day. A properly built pump centers the heel directly beneath the arch instead, distributing weight the way a foot was actually designed to carry it, rather than fighting that design with every stride. A podiatrist I consulted for this video called it the single most common design flaw in women's formal footwear, and the specific reason so many women associate pumps with pain rather than posture, assuming the discomfort is simply the price of the style itself. It isn't. It's a construction choice and a correctable one. Elaine replaced her old pair with one built on this exact principle, checking the heel placement before anything else. Color, height, or brand. She says she can now stand through a full pharmacy shift in it, something she hadn't attempted in a black pump in well over a decade, having quietly written the entire category off as something her feet simply couldn't tolerate anymore. 3. The ballet flat, with actual arch support underneath. I get asked about this one constantly, so let's settle it plainly. Yes, the ballet flat belongs on this list, but only the version built with real arch support inside, not the flat, unstructured kind that leaves a high-arched foot with nothing to rest on for 8 hours straight, no matter how good it looks in the box. A physical therapist who treats several women in my circle told me an unsupported flat can do more cumulative damage over a workday than a moderate heel, simply because the arch collapses completely with nothing underneath it to interrupt the strain. Most women assume flat automatically means gentle. It often means the opposite. Elaine had written flats off entirely years ago, filing them under the same category as heels. Pretty, but ultimately punishing by the afternoon. Finding a properly supported version changed that completely. She now keeps a pair by her front door for the walk to and from her car alone, something she'd never have trusted a flat to handle before. 4. The ankle boot, structured enough to anchor an outfit. An ankle boot, in a clean leather with minimal hardware, does something almost no other shoe on this list manages quite as well. It grounds a look instantly, making even the simplest, least considered outfit read as finished and deliberate, rather than unplanned or thrown together at the last minute. A stylist I trust in New York calls it the great equalizer of a shoe wardrobe, precisely because it transitions from a demanding workday straight into an evening commitment without requiring a single change, a shoe bag, or a second thought about whether it still works for the setting. Elaine wears hers on the days she knows in advance she won't have a moment to sit down between patients, when comfort and structure both need to hold for 12 consecutive hours without complaint. She says it's the one pair on her rack that has never once let her down by hour 10, regardless of how the rest of the day went. 5. The block heel sandal, in leather or a considered alternative. A block heel sandal earns its place on this list through stability. Nothing else here quite offers. The wide, even base distributes weight across the entire foot, unlike a thin stiletto heel, which is exactly why podiatrists consistently recommend it over a spike heel for anyone standing for long, unbroken stretches at work. I know some of you prefer not to wear leather, and that's a completely reasonable, considered standard to hold. Not a compromise you should have to apologize for. High-quality vegan leather has genuinely closed the gap in recent years, and a well-made pair holds its structure and shape just as long as its animal leather counterpart, contrary to what the category was known for a decade ago. Elaine chose leather for hers, prioritizing durability through repeated long shifts on hard pharmacy flooring, but the underlying principle holds regardless of material choice. Structure and honest construction matter more than what the upper happens to be made from. A well-built shoe respects your standard either way. 6. The white sneaker in canvas, not a running trainer. This one divides opinion every single time I mention it. So let's be precise about the distinction. A canvas white sneaker, closer in silhouette to a tennis shoe from decades past than to a modern running trainer, can absolutely work paired with tailored pieces, a slip dress, or a blazer. A bulky athletic trainer, however, rarely reads as elegant next to anything remotely formal. The proportions simply fight each other, no matter how expensive the trainer was. A footwear designer I know draws a hard, deliberate line between the two silhouettes for exactly this reason, refusing to let clients blur the distinction even when a trend suggests otherwise. One is a considered choice, the other is often simply what was already in the closet. Elaine keeps a canvas pair reserved specifically for the days her feet genuinely need a true rest from structure, worn with simple trousers, never with a dress or anything formal. She says making that one firm distinction changed how confidently and how often she actually reaches for them now. 7. The knee-high boot, built with a stretch panel. A knee-high boot flatters far more legs than most women assume walking into a store, but only when it's constructed with a stretch panel at the calf, rather than a single rigid shaft that only accommodates one narrow, predetermined range of leg sizes and shapes. A bootmaker I know in Italy told me this one construction detail is the entire difference between a boot that comfortably fits 3 body types and one that fits only a single narrow ideal, regardless of how beautifully it's made otherwise. Most women blame their own legs for a fit problem that was actually a design limitation from the start. Elaine had avoided the entire boot category for years, having long since assumed her calves simply didn't suit the silhouette, the same conclusion many women quietly reach and never revisit. A stretch panel pair proved that assumption wrong within a single wear, changing an entire category she'd mentally closed the door on. Elaine still works 12-hour shifts, and she still keeps exactly 2 pairs by her front door instead of a closet full of shoes she can't wear past noon. She went on to complete the undeniable's complete system, not because 7 shoes solved everything, but because she wanted the same intentional standard applied to the rest of her life, not just her feet. Scan the QR code on your screen to get it. Here is what every one of these shoes has in common, Elaine. None of them were chosen because they were trending. Each one was chosen because it actually fit the body wearing it. And that decision, repeated in one small area of a woman's life, has a way of spreading into every other one. Comfort was never the opposite of elegance. It was the missing ingredient the whole time. Pick 2 shoes from this list to evaluate against your own feet this week. Not 7, 2. Try them on with intention, the way Elaine did, and notice what actually supports you. Then come back and comment, I evaluated this and this. Tell me what shifted, or send me an email. I read every one. If this video gave you something worth having, subscribing costs you nothing and means everything to this community. There's a video on your screen right now that I'd recommend you watch next. It goes even deeper into the fitting details we only touched on today. Until next time, to every woman watching, you are not here by accident. You are an undeniable. Act like it. Isabel.